For center number 2, you should be watching the screencast down here under center number 2. You're going to be writing compound sentences and identifying the difference between phrases and simple and compound sentences. So the first thing you're going to need is your interactive notebook opened up to this page. It was page 30. This is the cover. We worked on that yesterday. And then underneath the flap are some sentences. So the first thing we're going to do is go back and finish these last 2 sentences that we didn't do. We're going to do those together. So you're going to need a highlighter and a writing utensil. And we started with number 7. I have kind of a rat face, and my mediocre vision makes me squint a lot. So what we're trying to prove is that a sentence is compound. And the first thing we're going to look for is that comma fanboy. If I see a comma fanboy, I'm going to circle it. Now, just because I see that doesn't mean it's compound. We have lots of different times when we can use a comma and a fanboy, like in commas in a series, or maybe in dialogue. So I have to prove that there is a compound sentence by finding a subject and a verb on both sides. So if I look at the left side here, I have kind of a rat face. So I'm going to circle or highlight any phrases, bracket any infinitives to get rid of them. And I see of a rat face. So you at your seat should be highlighting this. And what we're left with is I have kind. So I'm going to find my subject. Who is the sentence about? It's about I. And what's the verb? What do? I have. Oops. Now I'm going to look on the other side of sentence. It says, my mediocre vision makes me squint a lot. I don't see a prepositional phrase and no infinitives. So I'm going to look for my subject. What's the sentence about? It is about my vision. That's the subject. And what does the vision do? Vision makes. That's my verb. It's an action verb. So if this was a quiz or if I was answering in class, how do I know this is a compound sentence? Because it has a comma fanboy in the middle of a subject and a verb on both sides. Okay, let's try one more. Suddenly I had a girlfriend, but it was not the girlfriend I wanted. I'm going to start by finding my comma fanboy, comma but, and I'm going to look to see is there a subject and a verb on both sides, and I'm going to tell you that there are no phrases or clauses or phrases here to get rid of. So my subject on the left, I, what did I do? I had. Okay, and that's my verb, I had. On the other side, it was not the girlfriend I wanted. It is the subject and was is the verb. So since I have a subject and verb on both sides of my comma fanboy, I have a compound sentence. So what you're going to do now is flip the flap in there, and you'll see the same exact sentences. We are going to rewrite these sentences with a semicolon, because the other way to show a compound sentence, same thing, subject and a verb on both sides, but instead of a comma fanboy, we're going to use a semicolon. So what I want you to do is just cross this out. And then you're going to rewrite the sentence exactly the same way. The cancer had taken her eyeballs. But instead of a comma, I'm going to put a semicolon. I don't need to use a fanboy or a conjunction. And I'm just going to continue. No capital letter, because this is not the beginning of the sentence. It's a compound sentence. And, okay, so recopy the sentence by getting rid of the comma fanboy and replacing it with a semicolon. So you're going to go ahead and do the rest of those sentences. Do the next one. Cross off the comma fanboy and then recopy it by substituting in a semicolon. After you have all of those sentences done, at your station, you should have in, I believe it's on blue paper in a blue bin, a paper that looks like this. It's on blue, and then a paper that looks like this on white. Okay, and what you're going to do is just like what we did for our sentences. We're going to eliminate phrases, label subjects, label verbs, circle comma fanboys if we find them, and try to decide if our sentence is a phrase, if it's a simple sentence, or a compound sentence. If it's a phrase, we're looking for a prepositional phrase, an infinitive, a verb phrase, or an appositive. If I see a simple sentence, I'm looking for just one subject, one subject and one verb. And I can have lots of phrases and descriptive language around it, but when it comes down to it, there's one subject and one verb. If I think it's a compound sentence, what I should find is a subject and a verb on one side of my comma fanboy, and then another subject and a verb. Or the second way we just looked at it, we could have a subject and a verb, and instead of a comma fanboy, I'd have a semicolon with a subject and a verb. Okay, and so once you find them, you can look at the example that's at your station. I did 2 of them for you. You're going to put one little teeny tiny dot in the middle of this page and glue the card there so that they don't get stuck together. One teeny tiny dot is all you need. Okay? All right, if you need any help, raise your hand.